You can take us out of the practice session, and Dr. Morphy, just one moment, then we can begin.
Yes, I know you need to
Dr. Morphy, we're ready to begin when you are.
All right, good evening, everyone. This meeting of the Mahwah Board of Education is open to members of the public to be physically present. Members of the public that attend will be asked to follow the same procedures as all other visitors to our schools. Those procedures can be found on the agenda page of our website. Additionally, the board meeting will be live streamed for viewing purposes only. Anyone wishing to view the meeting may do so via Zoom. The webinar ID for this meeting is 897-2277-5387, and the required password is 823662. All right, I call this meeting to order. Roll call, please, Mr. Bleeker.
Mr. De Silva.
Here.
Mr. Denise.
Here.
Mr. Gallo.
Here.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Kaczmarski.
Here.
Ms. Jansen. Mr. Coughlin.
Here.
Ms. Davanero.
Here.
And Dr. Morton.
Here.
And we do not have a student representative this evening.
Okay. Adequate notice of agenda of this meeting has been provided to the Ridgewood News and the Record, specifying that the Mahwah Board of Education will meet on February 15th, 2024, in the administrative offices, 60 Ridge Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. A copy was filed with the Township Clerk. Our salute to the flag. Ms. Davanero, would you lead us, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this evening we do require an executive session in the beginning, so I need a motion to recess. Mr. Kaczmarski, second by Mr. Denise. Do we have an approximate time, Mr. Bleeker?
5 minutes.
Okay, just about 5 to 10 minutes. All right, we'll be back. Thank you.
They just tell me they're mean though.
It's gonna be part of my update.
Jump on that. There's a flyer.
I'll do a little teaser, and then you can bring it home.
You know, I really appreciate that. Partnership.
Or Tristan, maybe your report just got shorter, Tristan.
Oh,
I'm there. Okay.
the thing that.
Oh, the open house? Yeah. I wasn't going to.
All right, thank you for waiting. All right, we need a motion to reconvene to public action meeting. Mr. Hughes, second by Mr. De Silva. All right, agenda questions. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business in this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and the position in the group. If you're here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you are referring to in your question. All right, I need a motion to open the meeting to the public. Mr. Gallo, second by Mr. Copeland. Okay, we are officially open to the public. All right, seeing no one coming forward at this time, motion to close the meeting to the public. Mr. Kazmarski, second by Mr. Hughes. All right, I don't think we have a Mahwah student representative this evening, so let us move on to superintendent's report. Dr. DeToro.
Thank you very much. There are a couple things that I wanted to spotlight before our presentations. We have two. I want to start off by thanking Buildings and Grounds for the snow cleanup. I know there was a lot that was dumped on us last Monday night and Tuesday. It was nice that we were able to get a nice snow day for students, staff, and our families. So we have a couple left. Hopefully we can be very strategic in embedding them into the school year. Something I wanted to share with the board and the community, we have this poster for our upcoming performance of Les Mis for our high school. That is coming up in March. Tickets are on sale now, if you guys are interested. So we have a number of performances, starting with our senior citizen performance. That'll be posted in the schools as well as in central office. Update on our sports programs. I just want to say congratulations to our middle school sports teams. They had great seasons. Unfortunately, we lost in the second round of playoffs, both boys and girls, but I'm really proud of our athletes and our coaches. Thank you for everyone coming out and supporting our teams. On a positive note, our high school girls basketball team last week won the league title for basketball. It's the first time since 2016, and both the boys and girls basketball teams are starting the state playoff run. So good luck to both of those teams. We've been talking a lot about communication. We've been talking about it through our strategic plan. We talked about it through our equity audit, and most recently we talked about it through our district goals. We met with our community relations committee, so thank you so much for the committee members and their feedback. We are starting a new roundtable series. It's called T-Bird Talks. I don't want to step on Ms. Davaneiro's toes. I know she's going to talk about it during her report, but just a brief summary of this. This is going to be an opportunity for both Dr. Fair and I to go to different parts of our district, open it up to our community, invite them in. We get a chance to talk about the things that are happening within our district, and most importantly, hear from our our community to see how the school year is going, some points of praise and some things that we need to focus on. So we're looking forward to that series starting. Everyone, I believe at your table should have a flyer at your table. If not, this is going to be emailed out tomorrow to our community, introducing the roundtable event. That's going to start on March the 12th. It's going to be an RSVP just so we can make sure that we have enough seating for everyone. And the very first one will take place at Rampo Ridge Middle School Library Media Center. So we're excited about that for sure. Our first of two presentations, this one is brief, the other one will be a little bit more comprehensive. This is just for everyone who is new on the dais. We are obligated by the state to report out to our board and our community, specific to our student safety data system. As you can see, there are very specific incidences that we have to report out. This is not inclusive of the day-to-day conflicts that we might work through with students, but these are the more significant incidences that we might have throughout the year. We're obligated to do this twice a year, so this is our first reporting cycle. On the first slide, you'll see the number of incidences that we have. I'll give you a minute to take a look. And in my opinion, the most important piece is the next slide that talks about trainings and programs. It's really important that as a school, we talk about this often, that it's not just about teaching reading and writing. It's about teaching the students the importance of safety, the importance of respect, the importance of being kind, and being an all-around well-rounded human being. So within our school, we run a number of different trainings and programs that are specific to character development and respect. As you can see on this slide, it breaks out by school all the different programs and trainings that we have in place. Some questions that you might have is, well, what are those specific programs and trainings? There's a laundry list of different programs and trainings, but let me start with the trainings. For training, this is more staff specific, and there's some students involved as well. We talk to them about our school safety teams. We talk to them about school threat assessment and those different protocols. We have a climate and culture team meetings as well. And then we also have school safety drills that we take place along the lines of our trainings. Our programs that we have embedded into our schools K through 12 range from Week of Respect. We have the responsive classroom curriculum that we just spoke about at the last meeting. We have spirit days, we have team building days, we have character education lessons that we do throughout the year. We have Student of the Month celebrations that spotlight students that exemplify what we're looking for in sound character. And there are a number of other programs embedded within those as well. But I wanted to report this out to you as our board and share with you not only the incidences, but more of the proactive measures that we have in place specific to building our students into well-rounded young adults. This next presentation, I thoroughly enjoy doing this both mid-year and end of the year because it's an opportunity for us to showcase the work that's taking place in our district. For all of those who are new to this, let me just give you a brief background of our strategic plan. I've done this on a number of occasions, but it's worth repeating. A number of years back in 2019, while we were building it, we felt it was important as a collective group to bring together our community members, our students, our teachers, our administrative team to talk about what are the state of the district. What are we doing well? More importantly, what are things that we need to do collectively to grow our district to take it to another level? During that time, we were able to identify specific themes, which we're going to be talking about during this presentation, and create goals that allow the entire district to work collectively towards those goals. Prior to this, our schools were working extremely hard and they had their individual goals, but oftentimes they would splinter along the lines of where their work was focused. We felt like to maximize growth and really build our students K through 12, we felt like the strategic plan will allow us to do that. Along the line, we started back in 2020, and this is going to be completed in 2025. So next year, we're going to be repeating that building process, and we'll talk about that at another time. But we've also been tracking what we've done over time. So the first couple slides, we're going to talk about the progress 2020 to 2023, and then we're going to transition into what we're currently doing this year specific to achieving our strategic plan goals. Going into our work from 2020 to 2023, I think it's important, and I'm not going to go chapter and verse, read every single thing that's up there because we've talked about it, but I think some things that are important to highlight, and I'll start with curriculum, and Dr. Fair will take community connections. It's been an ongoing focus. We are very proud of Mahwah High School and the different resources that they've had. Also the different programs that they had in place, but we felt it was really important to communicate those offerings to our district. So over the past couple of years, not only have we been building course offerings, we've also looked to embed different opportunities, like our internship and externship opportunities. We've been fully committed to connecting with different colleges around our community to build our dual enrollment offerings, and just to remind you, those are opportunities for our students to take courses but also get college credit. And also, we feel it's extremely important that students who are not college bound, what are we doing to support them? So building our relationships with trade schools and giving offerings for those students as well. Along the lines of our work year to date, and I know we'll talk about this during our curriculum slide, it's worth repeating, CUSAC was a massive lift. Now, we did it this year along the lines of the audit, but the preparation for CUSAC started last year along the lines of gathering all of those artifacts, looking at the curricula, and doing all the things that are needed to present our district in a light that we want it to be presented. Something that's worth noting is the number of awards that we've gotten over the past 3 years. We've talked time and time again that we're extremely proud of what Mahwah has to offer, but we also said the disconnect was, how are we sharing our story? How are we getting that work out to those that can appreciate it even more? So I'm really happy that we were able to anchor into 3 different awards over the past 3 years to identify what our school really does and what it offers and celebrate that. Last but certainly not least, I want to jump over PD because we talked about it at the last meeting. The NJTSS work that we will talk about in the future slides did not start just this year. That initiative started 2 years back, and we really anchored into it last year along the lines of understanding the value of knowing who our students are as learners and individualizing our instruction for them to maximize their growth as a learner. So that work and creating that consistency K through 12, which is a huge lift to understand what are our common practices K through 12, is extremely important, and that work was done in previous years. And last but not least is our INRS manual and our processes. That's something that, for all those who don't know, if you have struggles, whether it's academically or socially, there are supports that we can put in place. And this is not our students with IEPs. These are our general ed students that they need some supports along the way to make sure that they can be successful. We are standardizing that K through 12 along the lines of what that meeting looks like, sounds like, and feels like, but also those supports that we can put in place K through 12.
And over the course of the last 3.5 years, there's been, as you can see, a lot of overlap between curriculum and our community connections. We've spoken a lot about our Thunderbird Partnership Program, which we're really proud of. We've been a lot more thoughtful and intentional about our partnerships as well as our parent academies that we've been able to offer to our community. We've increased our branding efforts across the district and beyond. Our student partnerships and our intentional transition experiences for our students and families has been really key over the course of the last 3 years, and we have been more involved in our communications with our ML families who have been moving into Mahwah through the Talking Points communications tool. The third frame connected to social emotional learning. Thank you to our Board of Education who have been gracious enough in supporting our addition of instructional coaches, as well as our SEL coaches and our school counselors at the elementary level. We have middle school sports now, again, and K-5 club offerings. We've created and shared our parent SEL brochure, and we have our school-based threat assessment teams and student support data teams as well.
And last but certainly not least is our commitment to making sure that our facilities are top-notch across the K-12 schools. Something that's been driving this is the district audit that took place a number of years ago that was done by Land Associates. They were able to give us a comprehensive breakdown of all the different facilities that we have and create a priority list of things that needed to be fixed, updated, replaced, or enhanced. From that list, the finance and facilities team, as well as the administrative team, worked collectively to start to create these different forecasts along the lines of how we can accomplish improving our district facilities without impacting the community specific to a tax impact. We were able to accomplish all the things that you have on this slide without raising our taxes to do it. We did it all within our operating budget. So when you're looking at it and you see just some of the projects, whether it's our roofs, our windows, our HVAC, our grandstand, our track, all these things are massive projects that I'm really proud that we were able to accomplish over the past couple of years because of the planning and the support from the board and our administrative team. So we'll get more into the granular piece of the facilities of what the work is this year, but I wanted to spotlight a lot of the pride points that we have specific to facilities and making sure that we have something that the kids and our community can be proud of.
So what we will now do is we will now present our update for the 24-25 school year in terms of what our progress has been. So Dr. Rubino, obviously our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, will lead that piece.
Good evening, everybody. So up on the board, what you see is something that you have seen over and over and over again. These are our goal statements, and I know it's really hard to read the fine print, but I'm going to kind of summarize for you. So that first bullet really has to do with just keeping our curriculum updated. So it means keeping us aligned with standards and making sure that we're constantly looking at curriculum. Usually a curriculum cycle is about 5 years. So we always want to be looking at curriculum to update and renew every 5 years. So that's what that one is about. That second bullet really talks about having our kids be able to think globally and really stretch beyond just the classroom. The third bullet really has to do with professional development and making sure that our teachers have all what they need to be successful. The fourth bullet has to do with authentic learning and problem solving and having our students really think critically about what they're learning and how it applies to the real world around them. And then the last one has to do with post-secondary opportunities and exposure through organization, community projects. So that really is our Parent Academy and then our Thunderbird Partnership Program. Thank you. So the next slide, we talked a little bit about this last board meeting, and then obviously Dr. Victoria just talked about it again. CUSAC, all of our curriculum was updated, renewed, and you approved it last board meeting. So that is a highlight for all of us. But there are a couple pieces in there, there's 3 of them that I really want to point out. So International Night is something we talked about bringing all of our community together, and we were able to expand that this year. We usually do 9 through 12 for our International Night. This year we did 6 through 12. And anybody that went, it was an amazing night. I said to Dr. Morphy that I had a bindi on my head, I had henna on my hands, I was eating all kinds of different cultural food, and really just enjoying the night. So if you didn't get to go to it this year, we are looking to even expand it next year so that our elementary schools might have a chance to join. We're not sure, but we really want to do that. So we want to make sure that we have a space in order to hold everybody, because this year we were really packed into the high school auditorium or the cafeteria. Yeah. So that was a really great night. Another piece that we talked about last year was our Mandarin course at the middle school. That was new. We created a 7th grade course. This year, obviously our 7th graders need to go somewhere, so we have to create an 8th grade course. We already have enrollment for that 8th grade course and 7th grade course. With enough kids, we have about 18 7th graders for next year that want to take Chinese Mandarin, and we have 27 for 8th grade. And then the last bullet at the bottom is also a really nice moment to celebrate. We talk a lot about professional development and how to learn from outside presenters, but we also can learn from inside, and we see that with our January 29th PD Day. This is another way to do that. Vertical articulation in education means we literally learn from talking up the scale and talking down the scale. meaning our 5th grade teachers and 4th grade teachers talk to our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers. That's that vertically aligned, that's the vertical articulation that we want. And we've started doing that this year with our science, our social studies, and our ELA staff. And they've been really, really successful in looking at our programs, the sequence of our programs, and then aligning what resources we're using. So we're not overusing the same resource, but then we're also layering in resources on top of each other. That makes sense. And NJTSS, so New Jersey Tiered System of Support. We've been talking about this for 2 years. Some of the bullets up here are just reminders. We have data teams that run 4 times a year. We just had them this week, actually. We are doing a really nice job at looking at tiered intervention in terms of what does everybody need, what do some children need, and what does one child need. And that's that tiered pyramid that we're talking about. We also have continued our training. So just because we introduced it last year to our staff does not mean our training stops. We actually had training this week on how to look at growth data. So looking at a baseline data from September and looking at data in January, February is really, really important to say, where have our students grown? Where do we all need to grow even more? And where do some students need to be pushed just to make sure that we're supporting them in where they need? And then the last bullet, this was something we did this year we're really proud of. At Ramapo Ridge Middle School, we actually started to restructure our math lab and our lit labs. These are supports that are in place, and we had a curriculum that went along with our math courses and our language courses. This year we looked at utilizing small groups in this specific course based off of the students' iReady scores and the deficit areas and strength areas that we saw within those reports. And our teachers are utilizing those reports in this course, which was a revamp for them. So we're really proud of the work they're doing there. And this is the fun part. You get to see our kiddos. So on the left-hand side, this was a really fun event I got to go to. We were making wontons in our 7th grade Chinese course. So that was really fun. We had a lot of parents that actually came in to volunteer. And on the right side there, let me just, I don't want to say the wrong group. So this was on January 29th, our PD day. This was all of our staff, and those are 3 children from our Community Problem Solvers class. And with Mrs. Krenka's help, they actually taught our teachers a course on how to differentiate for ML learners. So that was a really, really, that was a pride moment for us. We're really happy to present that. And then these are our little guys in elementary school. On the left-hand side, all the big smiles, they're learning how to code through Lego robotics. And on the right-hand side, those children are learning how to write over pages. And that is a big deal for our little guys in elementary school. And that means we get to expand our ideas from just a simple seed idea, we call it, meaning maybe you went on a roller coaster, and that was your little moment, to explaining how you felt, what did you smell around you, who was with you, and you get to write over pages, and then they get to present it.
Thank you. Ms. Rizzo is going to share some information about where we are with social emotional learning.
So on the screen that you see before you are obviously our goal statements relative to social emotional learning. And without going over them piece by piece, I think we can say that our community in developing these goals was committed to ensuring that students had a sense of belonging and a place here in Mahwah Township Public Schools. But on top of that, that they also had the emotional readiness to encounter their academics with a wholehearted effort. And we also found a way to include our faculty in that philosophy as well, that we know that adults need to also be able to face the challenges of their day and feel emotionally supported throughout their workday. So some highlights for the 23-24 school year is first and foremost our SEL coaches. We can't underscore or overscore enough the reality that we have individuals within each school who work together with their administrators in order to provide moments and opportunities that support their colleagues or are designed in order to specifically support students. So our SEL coaches this year obviously are planning and supporting school-wide activities. And through that, we also developed at the end of last school year, and I believe initiated this school year, a job description specific to the SEL coaches. Bear in mind again that these are individuals who are actively either teaching or intervening throughout the school day in a range of capacities. We have regular teachers, we have speech therapists, we have all types of individuals, general education, special education teachers who are serving as SEL coaches in their buildings. They also created a parent brochure, which was mentioned earlier. We also are in the process of creating a teacher handbook with resources for applications of SEL activities within the classrooms. And we are looking to and continue to create a 2-year cohort series for new staff interested in the training. Long supported by the board was an intervention through an outside consultant and supporting expert to train our staff. And this is really the time where we're looking to our SEL coaches to say, you know what you're doing, now begin the process of training perhaps novice individuals as well who haven't really partake in this experience before. Again, through the generosity of the board, we were able to hire 2 school counselors, and we have effectively integrated them not only in providing interventions as needed, but in whole class and building-wide experiences with the SEL coaches as well. We are using student support data teams in which we're looking at the learners in addition to their academic needs, what are their social emotional needs, and in that also we are studying our student attendance and chronic absenteeism interventions. If you had the opportunity to listen to the governor speak recently, chronic absenteeism is a national issue and it is a state motivating issue, and it is something that we are certainly looking at. Students who, for whatever reason, are missing greater than 18 school days in a school year. We're convening actually a meeting, I think it's next week, in which we're beginning the process to really analyze what are the issues and how can we intervene. We have, of course, engaged in the mandate and then Mahwah, turned it into a Mahwah specialty, our school-based threat assessment team meetings. I have to say that Dr. DeToro is working diligently with the staff that he's assigned to this team to be sure that we're perfecting this method so that we're intervening early, we're intervening soon on students that may pose a threat obviously to themselves or to the learning environment itself, our schools, and intervening appropriately on that. And we are dedicated to running that system with the same rigor that we do in all other type of meetings, meaning our HIB meetings and our behavior intervention team meetings, which are mentioned there as well. So in each school, we have individuals who have been identified as behavior intervention team members. We call them BIP team members. And this was actually birthed out of what we recognized the federal government was saying to us in July with, they write to us letters called Dear Colleague letters, which say basically, dear colleague, you better pay attention. And one of them was around behavior interventions because as a result of COVID, and certainly not in our district, but still worth paying attention to, far too many young children, kindergartners, first graders, were in need of suspensions for whatever reason or dramatic interventions. And the notion of the BIP team was developed here in Mahwah so that we could proactively address behavior, particularly of our younger students, before it got to the dilemma of, and therefore you should not be at school one day. So we're really trying to stay on top of that. Obviously, International Night was spoken about, and yes, we are eager to have conversations about that pre-K through 12 experience. We refer to it as Harmony Day sometimes, and International Night, obviously, and we are brainstorming, could it happen on the soccer field adjacent to central office, all of that type of good stuff going on. We continue to offer elementary school morning meetings, school-wide and classroom-based, again supported by our SEL coaches and our counselors and obviously our administrators. We are planning many experiences during Mindful March. Be on the lookout for all of that information. And lastly, in many, if not all of our K-3 classrooms, we created calming corners where students, and perhaps maybe an adult every once in a while, can go to just take a calming break and recenter themselves to face the challenge of yet another day. And here you can certainly enjoy some of the images relative to all of our social emotional learning. And if you happen to see an emoji over someone, that's because we don't have consent to share the image of that student. Thank you, Dr. Fair.
Thank you for that clarification. Our Community Connections frame focuses on providing students with real-world experiences, such as internships, externships, and mentorships, which we've been talking a lot about over the course of the last 3.5 years. More intentionally supporting and guiding new families in our district, engaging local experts to support our curricular programs, and exploring how we can continue to assist our school's diverse learners. So 23-24 thus far has been a really successful year for us. Our district team was able to present at school boards related to our Thunderbird Partnership Program. We've been able to publish an article in a national magazine related to the same topic, and we've also submitted a distinction application related to this program that is growing and we're really, really proud about. Our career pathways continue to grow, and our 6 through 12 program has been branding them very successfully. We've also updated our district website to be not only ADA compliant, but to more accurately reflect our program's successes. As we saw in December, our staff highlights have been reinstated, so we're really excited about that. We've presented regarding our inclusivity audit, providing information on what our next steps will be in the district as per those recommendations. We have students connecting across the district, and we've been more intentional about what those connecting experiences look like. We will be initiating, as Dr. Arturo announced, our T-Bird Talk series, which will be roundtable discussions. That announcement will be sent out tomorrow morning. And there will be an RSVP attached to that flyer. And in process of engaging a potential communications consultant to ever improve our outreach efforts across the community. And just a few highlights that some of you may have seen on Twitter. We've recently celebrated our mentors and internship, externship participants, where students also were able to showcase their culminating capstone projects on the left. And we continue with our spelling bee tradition over at JK. And lastly, our Habitat for Humanity Snow Angels continue to assist our senior citizens with our most recent storms. Mahwah's International Night showcased our community's cultures, and the Hearts for Marcus campaign provided 127 Mahwah High School students with preventative cardiac screenings. And Mr. Bleeker will present on our facilities as of the 23-24 school year.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you. Our facilities goal statement, as we have shared in the past, is to, there's a theme across all these to make sure that to reinforce the decisions that we're making when it comes to our facilities, deciding where to utilize taxpayer dollars and how to. They are informed, they are supported by evidence such as the land facility order, they're supported by needs such as things that we engage, obtain in doing surveys and speaking with the principals. And also with communication with the Board of Education and the Finance Facilities Committee as well. We're regularly evaluating our learning spaces and make sure they reflect the needs of the curriculum, not only now, but in the future as well. Some of the things that we've been doing is having our ongoing discussions with administrative teams. This is building off the land audit, making sure that we're not only using that from several years ago when we first developed it, but we're also updating it. We're having regular meetings with the administrators to see items that we have been addressed, that we can't cross off the list, and the work by Mr. Romero and his team, but also making sure that we're also updating it to include items that we may not have been aware of and thought of or taken into consideration previously, but to make sure that they're being added to our forecast of projects for the future. Continuing our work with the township, this we did last year as well, and we're doing it again this year, specifically with working with them with our paving. Every year we do some paving throughout the district. Last year we decided to take a different approach. Work with the township, who also does a large paving project over the summer on their streets and their roads throughout the township, seeing if we can add some of our paving projects to that process and to that bid. It worked really well last year. We definitely feel like we saw some efficiencies, not only in cost, but in having it done timely and in coordination with our summer programs that we have. We're looking to do that again this year as well. Working with the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee, so this is something that started about 2 years ago, really taking a look at as enrollment has changed throughout the district, but much of our transportation has stayed for the most part the same. Take a look to see if there were any opportunities where we can find some efficiencies that didn't exist previously. New ones that might exist now as routes have changed, as enrollment has changed, and also as parent and family practices have changed with transportation. Previously, families may have had busing was a primary source of getting students to and from school. Now, with after-school activities and things of that nature, there might be more benefits to picking them up from school, and transportation may not be needed. Seeing if there's opportunities there. So we've been gathering bus ridership data. We presented on that last year. We're continuing to gather that data, ensure that our routes are the most efficient that we can be. We were able to eliminate a couple routes at the beginning of this year to and still maintain a timely arrival and dismissal for our students. And also taking a look at the different specificities of Mahwah. Yes, there are regulations and laws that we get from the state of New Jersey that we need to comply and meet, but there's also specifics to Mahwah, to our township, to the way our geography is here that might dictate what we can and can't do for transportation. And lastly, working with the, lastly on this slide, working with the Board of Education's Facility Committee to review our capital reserve totals. So we've been looking at this very closely over the last several years. Our capital reserve definitely has fluctuated. We tapped into it several years ago very significantly when we did the renovation and addition to Mahwah High School, building the STEAM addition. We've also been able to build that back up a little bit, and then we also tapped into it recently doing the HVAC project at George Washington School, the Mahwah Grandstand, and other replacement projects as well. So still maintaining it at what we feel is a comfortable and healthy level to maintain some of our big projects going forward without having to add to our taxpayer dollars, but making sure that they're being done informed and looking at it forward thinking. Last thing here to mention is during last year there was a new opportunity that came up from the state. This comes up every couple of years. They have funding available, what's referred to as ROD grants. So these are grants from the School Development Authority for regular operating districts. We applied for several projects throughout the district, and very fortunate to be awarded grants for these. We're going to be taking a close look at these with the Finance and Facilities Committee to see when is most appropriate to engage in any of these projects. It includes a partial roof replacement at George Washington's Elementary School and Mahwah High School, rooftop units at several schools, Ridge High School and JK, and then HVAC replacement at Betsy Ross. So this will be a complement to the HVAC replacement that we're currently doing at George Washington School that we did last summer and is continuing the second phase of it this summer. And just a few pictures to show here. So on the left-hand side, those are when we refer to rooftop units, that's what they look like. So these are often units that are supplying some of our larger spaces. So the bottom left, that's a rooftop unit at Joyce Kilmer School. That one, if I'm not mistaken, services the cafeteria area. So larger spaces are usually served by a rooftop unit. Above that are different condensing units. So those are the condensing units that are on top of Joyce Kilmer School. I apologize, George Washington School. So that helps to, will help to support the air conditioning function of the new HVAC system that we put in place there. And then also on the right, inside the building, when we do some of these HVA systems and renovations, we do look for other opportunities. One opportunity we saw when doing the George Washington HVAC renovation was we took out on either side of the HVAC unit. We took out some of the storage and the shelving were there, replaced it with new storage and new shelving to accommodate more of the classroom materials.
All of this work, as well as the previous work, our goal was to make sure that we were able to communicate all of this to our community. So we do have on our website the strategic plan tab that you're able to see all of this work as it goes year over year. So please, I ask everyone to visit that to see all of this information in one place. This is something that, as I started the presentation, I think it's worth repeating. This is really a point of pride for me because it shows the collective effort of everyone here, the teachers, the administrative team, the commitment from the board to work together to make sure that the additions, the enhancements, the adjustments of our current practice aligns to what our ultimate goal is to provide a great education to our students. All of this while we're simultaneously teaching them on a day-to-day basis, which is a huge lift. But while we're doing all of this, it's my hope that you see that our district is moving in a great direction, and it's something that we all can be proud of. There was a lot of work that was just shared in this presentation. There's still more work to be done, but this allows us to stay true to the course. So that is our mid-year presentation. Any questions?
Do you want to talk a little bit about the next strategic plan? A little bit, just a little teaser.
For all of those who were not involved in the first one, let me kind of start from the beginning. I'll keep it brief. It's really important that the strategic plan showcases the values of all. And what I mean by that is it's an opportunity for everyone to come together and talk about these are the things that make us proud for being in Mahwah. That's one, because it's important to celebrate. But it's also important to identify, here's some things that need continued attention or growth. So we come together as a community a number of times and we share that information. From that information, we gather it. We start to identify themes that are present over the course of a number of different people sharing it. It's not something, I want to make sure that people are clear. Just because it is spoken about during those meetings doesn't mean that action is going to happen. We really try to identify overall themes that allow us to move in the right direction. Once we identify those themes, we start to look at what are logical goals that we can span over the next 5 years, and do they align with our district vision too? Those goals are then created, and then what happens after that is our administrative team takes a look and says, how is this applicable to my school, my students, my clientele? And we start to build out not only our district goals or our board goals aligned to our strategic plan, it also allows us with the granular focus of within each school, what does it look like, sound like, and feel like for them to move in that direction as well. But what's most important, which hopefully you're able to see, our commitment is to make sure that this is at the forefront of our decision making. So anytime that decisions are made, we take a look, is this aligned to what our collective commitments are? And then also, we want to make sure that this doesn't get stale, that we start it in year 1 and we don't talk about it until year 5. We want to make sure that each and every year there are checking points, which we have embedded now, mid-year and end of the year, to say, this is where our district is tracking.
Thank you, Mike.
No problem.
All right, well, thank you very much for that comprehensive presentation from our administrative team. And Dr. DeToro, your report. I know, I didn't know.
Sorry.
You might have had other things,
No.
it's okay.
That's it.
I mean, I think for those of us who participated in the strategic planning process from the beginning, to see where it's come to, the areas of growth, I don't think, honestly, probably those who participated at that time recognized how much and how quickly you've moved forward in each area in really, identifying needs, addressing needs, and putting plans into place. So I mean, I think it's wonderful to see it this way because it's also gives us a very, and I say comprehensive idea of what's happening and how quickly things are happening in this district. So again, kudos to the entire team because there's a lot of effort that goes into this and keeping, the goals in mind and moving Mahwah, ahead and this district ahead. It's really phenomenal. So I think I can say on behalf of the board, thank you for all your efforts and, continuing to push forward. We really do appreciate it. Any other questions, comments on our strategic plan? Okay, let's move on. Dr. Fair, no, sorry, Mr. Bleeker, do you have a report for us this evening?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
There's a lot of reporting going on, so, but please.
First thing, I just want to echo what Dr. DeToro said earlier regarding the work of our buildings and grounds and custodial team with the most recent snowstorm. The timing of this one definitely was a little bit better than some of the other ones. We had plenty of time to prepare, know the storm was coming, and the timing of when it ended gave us plenty of time in the afternoon to make sure that our buildings and grounds were in good shape to open up again for school the following day. So thanks very much to them, the custodians, and also to the DPW. Whenever we have a storm, we're also communicating with them as well, just to get updates on the road conditions, how they are for safe travel to and from our schools, for both our parents and for our buses and our staff. Next thing I just want to mention is the budget. So this is the budget for the 24-25 school year. At our next Board of Education meeting, the March 6th meeting, we do intend to have our preliminary budget introduced at that time. For those that may not recall, the budget is done, there's really two presentations or resolutions that the board takes to, one to introduce, the second to adopt the budgets for the following year. So this first one in March 6th is going to be just an introduction of the preliminary budget. This allows us to send it to the county office. They will conduct their review as well. Also gives us time to review it amongst ourselves, present the information to members of the public in advance of our final adoption. So our final adoption of the budget right now, based on our board meeting schedule, is scheduled for May 1st. So May 1st will be the final adoption of the 24-25 budget. Once again, and I say this every year, what we introduced on March 6th can always be adjusted if we need to between March 6th and May 1st. So we are expecting that for the next board meeting. In between now and then, one of the drivers on the revenue side of the budget, which is our state aid, we do expect that to be released. That should come out in the next week or two from the state. It was released to all districts within the state at the same time. And the last item for me to share is on tonight's agenda, there is one project listed. That's to replace some gas piping at Mahwah High School. It does require an adjustment to our long-range facilities plan because currently that project is not on there. Whenever we do a larger scale capital project, we do have to make sure it aligns and is included on the long-range facilities plan. So both those resolutions are on tonight's agenda. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bleeker. Dr. Fair, do you have a report for us this evening?
Yes, I do. The first is another alumni highlight I wanted to share with everyone. This was just recently posted on Twitter from one of our kindergarten teachers at George Washington School. So Rachel Gilbert is a recent graduate of Mahwah High School. She has just published her first children's book, Last in the Box, A Crayon's Journey, published by Luminaire Press. Rachel is currently an education major at the University of Delaware. The book's premise revolves around every crayon and every child having value and purpose. In fact, this book was inspired by a high school assignment for her education as a career class, to which Rachel thanks her Mahwah teachers in this course for being the impetus to this project being published. I just want to just read you a sentence. She says, this book was inspired by a high school assignment for her education as a career class, and in the front, she thanks her family and the wonderful staff of the Mahwah School District. So we ordered a copy of Rachel's children's book for each of our elementary schools, and we'll have a copy for each of our board members in our meeting in March. So that's really cool. Congratulations, Rachel. The second piece, kindergarten registration is now open. I know that we have sent out an email communication to our community. Currently, as of this morning, we have 85 kindergartners registered for the fall. Please spread the word so that we have as accurate a count as soon as possible. At your places, you'll see a flyer. At our last board meeting, Dr. Arturo announced our continued efforts in collaborating with Rampo College right here in Mahwah. On that flyer is the college's Thomas Edison Film Festival, a special animation selection, a curated program of amazing animations from around the world, the Young New Jersey Animation Showcase, and finally the Student Anifest, where area high schools and colleges share animations in celebration of local talent. All are welcome to the event. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have 2 retirements. The first retirement is listed under agenda item 18C. Coach Remo from Mahwah High School, a physical education teacher and a coach. Jeff has dedicated his professional life to the students and athletes at Mahwah High School. This 1978 graduate returned to Mahwah as a physical education teacher and coach, a capacity he has carried out for the past 34 years coaching, with 31 years of those being a physical education teacher at the high school. Jeff has coached multiple sports, including softball, football, and baseball as the head coach. Jeff is the only athletic coach in the history of the school to have earned 100 career victories as the head coach of 3 different sports. The programs that Jeff has led have seen great success. In 1997, Jeff took over the football program, where he would go on to guide the program to multiple league titles and 2 state championships at MetLife Stadium in 2015 and 2016. I think we all remember that experience, right? It was cool. In 2008, Coach Remo took over the baseball program and immediately worked to capture a most unlikely state sectional championship and an appearance in the over-state championship game. As Mahwah settled into its place as a consistent force in North Jersey baseball, the Thunderbirds would capture numerous league titles as well as 4 state sectional championships, 3 overall state finals, and an overall state championship in 2012. Through all wins and losses, Mr. Remo's legacy will be in the relationship he has forged with the young men and women he has coached and the effect he has had on their lives after leaving Mahwah High School. We wish Jeff nothing but great things in his retirement. And lastly, we have Miss Laura Beatty, who is a school psychologist at Mahwah High School, listed and announced under agenda item 18B. Mrs. Beatty has been a school psychologist on our Mahwah High School Child Study Team for the past 26 years. Not only has Laura always been a consummate professional, but her focus has always been to assist her students, those on her caseload and beyond. Her strong work ethic and solutions-driven approach has been integral in assisting as the foundation of our high school child study team. If anyone needs anything, Laura will be the first to drop what she's doing to assist. As a transition specialist, Laura has provided valuable supports in assisting our district in finding various post-secondary options for our students that allow for all types of learners to see their purpose beyond Mahwah High School, whether that is through 2-year college, 4-year college, trade school, or the workplace. In fact, Laura has been key in developing our high school self-contained craft store that has allowed for our students to use life skills in the school setting and beyond. Also, just as an aside, when we started talking about connecting students with trade school opportunities after Mahwah High School, I remember Laura being at the table in the meeting and getting teary-eyed because this was a dream of hers to provide that opportunity to our kids. So we will miss all that Laura has brought to this district. She's been a champion for students, and that will remain her legacy as she continues into the next phase of her professional life. When I asked Laura what she was planning on doing, she isn't quite sure, but she knows that she's going to continue being an advocate for kids. And that's my report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Fair, and that the book seems very interesting, so congratulations to fellow student. I look forward to seeing it. All right, let's go. Thank you. Let there be light. All right, so my report this evening. First, hope everyone enjoyed their snow day, and wonderful that we give an actual snow day. So hope people baked, right? Had hot chocolate, cookies, and played out in the snow. And also, it was the beginning of Lunar New Year on the 10th of February, so this is the year of the wood dragon, and symbolizes a period of power, wealth, and transformation. So if you have some new entrepreneurial things, maybe this is the year of the wood dragon. All right, a few things from, I'm gonna tell you, the Twitter feed now, I mean, you can't keep up. Honestly, it's on fire. From the last meeting, I like scrolled back to now, there's almost too much going on, and wonderful, wonderful stuff. Kudos. No, it's wonderful. It's all good stuff. Sports, various activities, so it's really good to see. Very heartwarming to see. I wanted to highlight a few things. This is not all, because it can't cover it all. Top soaring Thunderbird. I think they talked about that. The student representative talked about that for January. The student, and I hope I'm going to pronounce this right. Did you know how to pronounce this young gentleman's last name? Yetagari. Look at that. Dr. Victoria Connor Yetagari. You just came out with that quickly.
One of my kids.
Oh, all right, there you go. 10th grader. He was the student, and the top scoring Thunderbird teacher for January was Heather Torino, who's one of our business teachers. So that's exciting. Few things I wanted to highlight. The girls bowling team. You know, we don't talk about some sports we don't always talk about. Let's talk about the bowling team. 5th place finish at the BCWCA tournament, among some of the best in Bergen County. One of our students was Student of the Week this week. Julia Graceffo, am I saying that correctly? A senior, and recognize this is in northjersey.com. She's senior class president. She's part of the National Honor Society. 3 sports, soccer, basketball, and lacrosse teams. And she's on the biomedicine research and health sciences pathway, or biomedical, I should say. So again, congratulations to Julia. We had some participants. Is this indoor track and field? Okay, so we had several. I mean, so Sienna Cannonberg, a senior, 3rd straight 400 sectional championship. She captured, and also Michael Singoli replacing 6th in the varsity pole vault, and that qualified him for state championship, which is, I think, coming up. So, and there's several other students who placed in shot put and different events. So again, check out our Twitter feed. Our academic decathlon team took 3rd place in the Super Quiz Team Trivia event at a regional competition, and then they won 17 individual awards at the regional award ceremony, and they are going to the state finals in March. Excellent. The mock trial team keeps winning. I mean, it's just, we've got winners here in Mahwah. Just exciting. So anyway, that's what I had. I mean, just wonderful stuff. So anyway, and hope everyone had a very happy Valentine's Day. That's where our meeting is. We moved to a Thursday for a change. So anyway, hope everyone enjoyed. And happy birthday. And we're interfering with the birthday celebration of Mr. De Silva tonight, but thank you. What dedication, Mr. De Silva. Thank you very much for being here. Let the record show. It's, exactly.
No place I'd rather be.
Oh my God. I'm sure your family's excited to hear that. Right?
My wife is thrilled.
Thrilled, yeah, I was going to say, you're scoring big points, aren't you? All right, let's move on to board committee reports. Ms. Tavernier.
Really stressed about this.
The button's a little hard,
Yeah,
but
just press it once.
yeah.
Yep.
Hi, friends. You guys all thought I was so smart. Super quick, I just want to touch on what Dr. DeTro and Dr. Fair both spoke about with the T-Bird Talk series. So from a community relations committee standpoint, we're very, very excited. This is going to be a several-part series. So the first one that we're kicking off with will be March 12th at 6:30. It'll be at Rampart Ridge. Dr. Toro kind of spoke through this. Well, it'll be in different places each time that we hold the meeting, because it just invites the community in, especially when you get down to the elementary level. Will not be parents, may not be in Betsy Ross, who may not be in GW. So I think it's a good way to really bring the community together, see all of the different schools, the spaces that we have, just kind of forge that connection. The first meeting doesn't have necessarily a theme. We've been kind of kicking around the thought of having themes for these T-Bird talks in the future. Like, if you're gonna come, like, this is kind of what we're gonna specifically be talking about. It was really important to all of us for this first one to just be an open forum. Invite the community in. It's not as formal, I think, as a board meeting feels. So you can kind of sit, you can talk, you can come, and really talk about anything. The RSVP is not mandatory, but it's good for us to have a head count of people who are going to come so that we make sure that we have space
Encouraged.
and seating.
Strongly.
But it,
Mandatory.
borderline mandatory.
Just want to make sure there are enough seats.
However, there is a piece in the RSVP that you will fill out that's optional, and it says, is there something in specific that you would like to speak about? I think it's nice that if there's something that you really want to have a conversation about, if there's information that you're looking for, kind of throw that in there just as a prep piece. So if you feel really strongly about something, I'll not having the conversation, but we want to have an open, honest conversation with everybody. We want to be able to answer questions as best as we can. So just, a little bit of a heads up so that there's preparation beforehand. But please join us. This is something that we've talked about for a while, and it's nice that we've been able to come up with a system that makes sense and works for everyone. So yeah, first one, March 12th, RSVP goes out tomorrow. I'm excited for you guys just to see the logo. Like, I've never been so impressed as when we saw this T-Bird Talk series logos.
Birds talking.
Yeah, little like,
Birds talking.
yes.
I like it.
And also be able to appreciate that it's our first T-Bird Talk will take flight on Wednesday, like that, I like that. It's good.
Easy management.
So that's it for me today. I'm just really excited to kick this series off, and I'm hoping to see all of you in attendance to do this with us.
Thank you, Tristan.
Thank you very much.
Put it on the roll.
Yeah, I guess we have to determine if there's more than 5 of us present. So, Ms. Davenier, we will be there fully to support you, as many as we can.
Amazing.
Mr. Copeland.
Got 2 quick reports. Transportation, we met on the 29th, reviewed where we are. Also wanted to give you some stats. So far this school year, 37% ridership in the morning and 40% in the afternoon. So that's
Our capacity.
of our capacity for the buses, correct. Also, important email went out to about 330 students and their families today. These were the families that on the first survey said that they are eligible for busing but do not use the bus. So we were giving those families the option to waiver, basically opt out of using our busing system. That email went out today. It's a PDF document that needs to be filled out, signed, and sent back to Ms. Spindler. It will be sent out to the entire community after this group of 330 receives it, can digest it a little bit, send it back in. Just to highlight, it's for next school year, and if you want to opt out, you have to do it every year. So it's not something you're going to do now, and it's going to follow your child through the whole district. You have to do it every year. And again, these are for the families that are eligible for busing, but opt not to use it for whatever reason. They will have the opportunity to opt back in if a circumstance changes and they do need busing. That could happen at any time during the school year, and Ms. Spindler will work with the family to determine the best time frame, bus stop, all that stuff. So I think this is a great option. I'm excited to see how many families do it. I think I was the first one to send in my 2 waivers for my 2 kids, because we don't use the busing, but so I'm excited to see what kind of response we get back and how, more importantly, how it will impact our transportation program. We have no idea, because we have no idea where the students live and how that's going to impact routes, but as soon as we start getting some data back, Ms. Spindler and Mr. Bleeker will be able to review the routes and see how it'll directly impact it. So this should be a good thing, and I'm excited to see what happens. The second report, Janine asked me just to give a quick thing on the MSF. There's Stumpy's fundraiser in February. They have about 58 people. It sounded like a great event. They have an upcoming Ladies' Night Out on March 14th. And I think more information is either out or it's coming out. I'm not sure. It's out. And the grant cycle is open until Friday. So if you are a teacher or a staff member in the building, haven't sent in your grant application, please do so. And then just a gentle reminder that they're always looking for volunteers. The MSF, if you're not familiar with them, supports all of our schools, unlike the HSOs, which are specific to the individual school that they're in. So please reach out to anyone on the MSF if you're interested in getting involved. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Copeland. Should we just move around the table? Mr. Gallo?
I have two reports, one for negotiations and one for finance and facilities. I'll start with negotiations. We have started negotiating with our association that represents our school supervisors and the association that represents our school administrators. We had a very productive conversation, and we look forward to having further dialogue on the 27th with both groups. I'm very optimistic that we will come to a fruitful conclusion quickly. On finance facilities, Kyle set up an agenda that was enough for like 6 meetings, but I will try to condense a little bit. There are 2 items for action on our tonight's agenda, 18Q and 18P. 18Q is related to 450 Chromebooks that will be leased for JK. This is, we've changed technology platforms, and as a result, there's also some savings involved in doing that switchover. And at 18P, we have a design award to Land Associates to repipe the gas lines for the science rooms up at the high school that are currently copper pipes that are really no longer allowed to be used. Doesn't present any immediate danger, but we want to be in code compliance. Couple of initiatives. I guess let me just talk briefly about the budget process. Kyle brought it up, but there will be a presentation on March 6th, March 27th, April 17th, and 5/1 for the adoption. So it's not just as though we go from the preliminary budget to the goal line without further discussion, review, and presentation of all the elements of the budget, which Kyle will present during those meetings. So the budget process is well underway. One of the initiatives that we've been particularly interested in the Finance and Facilities Committee is the ability for the district to utilize its cash resources to increase its interest earnings. And in that regard, we've been enormously successful, and we're in good. We have generated a good amount of interest, well ahead of budget, so that's a good tailwind for us. Then just reviewing some of our facility projects, we continue to be stumped by our ever helpful electric utility at GW. We've been hearing for some time now that our power will be upgraded at the facility so that we can turn on the air conditioning component of the HVAC project there. So unfortunately, bad news for the GW community. The air conditioning systems that they've been using for years will continue to get us through to the summer, but we hope that the power upgrade will come in play, and in September, we can use our new HVAC system, or the air conditioning component of our HVAC system. The sort of a bad news project was we wanted to do HVAC at GW this year, and then follow it with a project over at Betsy Ross, but unfortunately, the inflation we've seen in the cost of these projects has waylaid our plans to do the Betsy Ross project this year. Even though we have some ROD grant money, the district has to front the money, and Kyle said, we're very carefully monitoring our capital reserve resources, and that project would have put us in a tilt position, and we've deferred that for now. But it sort of illustrates a challenge that the district has. Over the last number of years, especially through the pandemic, capital projects are getting increasingly more expensive. Our ability to refresh or replenish the capital reserve account, and I've talked about this before, is also somewhat diminished because of fixed cost challenges, general inflation, and despite all of the good work that our team in the business office and the superintendent does to be mindful of our resources, Sometimes we just can't get ahead. The overall picture of the district is we're in a very good financial position. And as evidenced by the fact that we have a superintendent and a district team who's continuously putting the gas pedal down on continually improving the district without having to do crazy things on the finance side. So that has been very stable and very promising and effective for our students and for our taxpayers. But we are running into inflationary headwinds now in our capital resources that may require further study of alternative funding sources. So I just wanted to highlight those things. We had a very jam-packed meeting. The report's 2 pages long and very small print. Please pay attention. If you have any questions, please reach out. So those are my 2 reports.
Thank you very much. Any other committee reports this evening? Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, so on February 6th, the Bergen County School Boards Association, they hosted their virtual meeting, and the topic of discussion was how to build relationships in hostile environments. So the special guest speaker was Vincent DeLucia. A couple things about Vincent. So he has over 40 years of experience in education. He was one of the first of 79 teachers to hold a national board certification. He also served as mayor of South Brunswick. And he is the SBA Director of Training Professional Development. So a couple of the main talking points that Vincent was saying is, whenever there's an issue or maybe a big project that is causing maybe some controversy or disagreements, it's always good to just come together and have a little plan to make sure that everyone's voice is being heard and that the district is creating a bond, a trust with the community. So he said, there's always multiple ways of achieving a goal. Everyone has different opinions that they can bring to the table, different beliefs. And it's very important that all these beliefs and opinions should be heard when discussing an issue or a project, whatever it may be. He also said that it's important to invite people from all sides. So maybe if you have a town hall meeting, maybe you just want to bring in different people from around the community to discuss what's going on, to build some trust. That's always a good thing. Yeah, engage with everyone, have consistent district updates on what's happening, maybe new social media posts, and always come from a non-judgment side. Never judge, because everyone does have different opinions, and it's always good just to come in with a clear mind and try to understand everyone's feelings on an issue. He also mentioned to include discussions with outliers. Sometimes there's loud voices on one side or another, and it is important when we are creating trust within the district to even speak with the outliers. And like I said, all the reasons for his talking points is just to create trust, it's just to create a strong bond with the district, to make sure that everyone's voices are being heard within a district, and we can always have successful planning or successful projects in the district. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for attending on our behalf. All right, Mr. James? Okay. So let me give you a quick update on instruction curriculum and special ed. This is from our January meeting. We had some updates. First, Courtney Corella did speak to us about International Night, so I'm very glad to see that it went off so well and was a huge success. We also had Mr. Gliata and Mr. Pascal from the high school come and provide some guidance department updates to us. One of them being that the guidance department is going to transition from Naviance, which we've been using for many years. I know my 2 children used Naviance, to another similar program, but better, called SCORE. And it seems that with Naviance, they had some issues with kind of tech support, the platform not being updated, and several Bergen County schools similar to ourselves have switched over, and Mr. Gliata indicated that the feedback is good. So rising seniors would remain on the current platform of Naviance, but they'll start transitioning 9th, 10th, and 11th graders to SCORE. One of the things that he highlighted with SCORE is it has an app. Very interestingly and positively, for students to use. So that wasn't there with NIMED. So now they have an app on their phone. Parents and students can use this app to see, for example, when a school received transcripts, for example. And so it's just a bit more user-friendly in the environment of cell phones and everyone being more on their cell phone and having an app to look at these things. The other big thing, Naviance costs us about $10,000 per year. SCORE costs us $2,700 per year. So not only do we, have a program that seems more user-friendly and better, it's less expensive for the district. So a win-win, as they say. The other thing that they spoke about was the robotics challenge for this year, the 2024 challenge. It's called Crescendo. Our team of students have until March 1st to build the robot. Mr. Pascal tried to explain to us, I'm not sure I quite got it, I'm not a robotics person, I think it's so interesting, but it's based on musical notes this year. And the robot has to be programmed so it can go into autonomous mode and operate independently and operate the notes. Competitions are in beginning and end of March in Mount Olive, and I think you can follow the competitions online. So support the robotics team. They also mentioned that 75 of our students went to the DECA competition, which is the business-related competition with Ms. Torino. Most of these kids were in the business administration pathway, and there was a district competition at Rambo Ridge. And I understand that one of our fellow board members, Mr. Copeland, was one of the judges at the competition. Do you have anything to share about the
Shared at the last meeting now.
Oh, very
I don't want
good,
to
Mr.
be
Copeland.
redundant.
All right, very
It
good.
was also Rambo College.
Oh, Rambo College. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant Rambo College. Thank you. And thank you for being one of the judges, Mr. Copeland. The other thing that we learned some about in the strategic plan presentation that came up at our meeting as well was this whole vertical articulation that's happening between social studies at ELA and social studies at Rampo Ridge and JK. And so it was very interesting, the process that they went through. There were meet and greets between the buildings, between the teachers, so they could kind of know what they were doing. There were visits from JK teachers to Rampo Ridge to JK. And in the end, they were looking at areas of the curriculum where they can have integration between ELA and social studies. They also were looking at adding additional resources. One of the things is adding graphic novels to the reading list, even at 4th and 5th grades, again, to capture the attention of students, and articles, magazines, and common literature and history. So a lot of interesting things, and I think the thing that came out of it, and that was Ophir Kearns and Nikki Van Ness came and presented to us. And the most interesting thing, I think, was about how excited teachers were between the two schools to see what was happening and not happening, and to feel like they were really working together. So that was a really great thing to hear. We also understood about PD Day in January, which I'm sure was very successful. And some of the offerings were in technology, SEL, data and differentiation, and academics. So again, all good stuff. All right, any board member remarks at this time? Okay, let's take old business, 17. The minutes, and this is from the January 3rd?
Correct.
Correct, okay. The reorg. Very good, Mr. Blaker. All right, roll call. Oh, I need a motion. I'm there. A motion for old business A, 17A, Mr. Hughes, second by Mr. Kismarski.
Thank you. Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Denise,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes, as soon as I find the button.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Kismarski,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Ms. Davenero,
Yes.
and Dr. Morphy.
Yes.
Thank you.
You do change things up, well, really, you know, technology, Mr. Gallo. All right, let's take now new business A through T. We have a motion on the floor for new business A through T. Mr. Kazmarski, second by Mr. De Silva.
Second.
Yes.
A couple things I want to just point out real quick. J, field trips. I want to thank Mr. Corey and Ms. Whaling for finding a appropriate field trip for grade 7. For those that didn't know, grade 7 was the only grade out of K through 8 that did not have a field trip. And this has been requested for many years, so I want to thank them for finding your appropriate field trip.
And also, do you want age-appropriate? field trip?
Age-appropriate field trip,
Am I right?
yes.
I would go for this.
Hence why appropriate was thrown in there. Also L, we're approving the 24-25 school calendar. Wanted to thank the administration for all their hard work on that and all the feedback. I wanted to point out as well, Diwali is a day off next school year, which is huge. Reflects our community, so thank you for finding that. And I believe, Dr. Toro, Eid will be, when it's not on a weekend, right?
Next year.
We have to follow in the 25-26 school year.
Yes.
They have to do the math.
Yeah.
And then just a couple questions on Q regarding the Chromebooks for JK. I think this is a great initiative that we're rolling out for our 4th and 5th graders. The one question I had on this is that in 6 through 12, we're using Windows-based laptops. Is there a reason why we're doing Chromebooks and not Windows-based laptops that are consistent with what we have in 6 through 12?
Yeah. I apologize, I stepped out during your meeting, so I don't want to step on whatever you said, but let me kind of just talk you through the process of the laptops.
Turns on right away. So when we started this initiative of doing the one-to-one initiative, 6 through 12, what we were really focused on is there were a number of programs, computer-based programs, that we were cognizant of making sure that the computer could run as well as making sure that it supports the program. Now that we've lived with these computers for, I forget how many years we've been within this lease structure, we started to realize and a lot of the programs became web-based programs. So the cost of the programs that we have at the 6-12 level is, and I walked in on that, you started talking about, they're a lot higher than the Chromebooks. So we side-by-sided both the Chromebooks and the HPs. We wanted to make sure that all the things that we needed to do at the K-5 level could run with and be uninterrupted while they're using it. The Chromebook is able to support everything we need K through 5. Now, that's because our lease is up right now. Once the lease is up 6 through 12, we'll do the same process along the lines of making sure programmatically, curricular-wise, whatever we choose to run, that computer is going to support it. Now, just off the top of my head, a program that was a talking point when we first onboarded this was our industrial arts has a program through CAD and things like that. Please don't, I think that's the program, that has to run through our PC and needs more horsepower is the best word for it. Why don't we just say horsepower? So they weren't able to go through Chromebooks. That program, since we started this, is now moving towards a web-based program. So when we do go through the 6-12 analysis, we'll make sure we take all of that into account. But what I can tell you is, K through 12, a large majority of all of our programs are web-based or are through Google, the Google platform. That can run through any of these computers, specifically Chrome, and through our commitment to the taxpayers and making sure that we're being fiscally responsible, there was a significant savings in the Chromebook with not a drop in production. So that's why we were going to this specific program.
Thank you.
Or device, I'm sorry.
All right. Mr. Bleeker, 18, A through T.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Denise,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Kizmarsky,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Ms. Devenaro,
Yes.
Dr. Morphy.
Yes.
I
Thank
forgot
you.
my abstain.
Oh, check number.
You have one job.
It says 17A.
What was that about ethics complaints?
Bring up 3 right here.
Fix it now.
Check number 114467. 114527 and 114692.
Do that again with your mic on.
Thank you, Mr. Gallo. We'll make the adjustment.
Thank you. And now that it's been voted on, I actually do just want to take a moment to also highlight and talk about the district calendar. I just want to say that addition of the school holidays, this is something, being somebody who's been in this district, whose children went through this district, and I can tell you my children, we're practicing Hindus, and my children would not take the day off because they said, Mom, we can't miss school. So I'm grateful to see something like this happen in our district, and recognizing other religious holidays. I think it's tremendous, and it is also something I think that was a recommendation that came out of our equity audit as well. And so it's really great to see that in place. It gives me really great pride in our district, and also, again, recognizing and appreciating the diversity in our school community. So thank you again, Dr. DeToro, and to the administrative team for continuing to take bold steps as we move our district forward. So thank you very much. All right, now, new business. Let's take new business personnel. I wanted to do B, I like to do B and C separate, so should we take those first? 19B and C, the retirements, Ms. Beatty and Mr. Remo. And motion? Yep, Mr. Kazmarski, and second by Mr. Gallo. And my son was actually on both of those championship winning teams with Mr. Remo. What a great addition, and two people that we will miss a lot in this district for all they've contributed. Mr. Baker.
Mr. De Silva.
Just quick congratulations to both Ms. Beatty and Coach Remo. It's 57 years of experience, and retiring here. It doesn't seem like all that long ago. Coach is beating the crap out of us on the football field. Definitely big shoes to fill in both instances, and I wish them both long, happy, healthy, productive retirements. Yes.
Mr. Denise.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo.
Yes, and I echo Rick's comments on happy and healthy retirements for both pillars of our community here, and big shoes to fill. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, and just to echo what everyone else has been saying about Coach Remo, he's an absolute legend. We're all going to miss him. So we wish him a very happy and healthy retirement.
Mr. Kazmarski.
I will also echo those sentiments, and for both of them, but especially for Coach Remo. He started coming back for the class of '93. That's when he originally started coming back as an assistant coach. And we had a lot of good times. He was a great guy, a great coach for this district. And my soapbox on sports, he is like the epitome of what we need at all times for coaches. The involvement, the love of the kids, the love of winning championships. And my son also was on the 2016 team. We have a ring at home to prove it. So, congratulations to them. Now, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Ms. Davenero.
Yes.
And Dr. Worthy.
Yes. All right, now let's take 19, can we do A and D to double E? Can we do it that way, Mr. Clerk? Okay, so A and D to EE, please. I need a motion. Mr. De Silva, second by Mr. Denise. Thank you. All right, Mr. Baker?
Mr. De Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Denise.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo.
Yes, and also thanks to Dennis and his team to make sure all these jobs get filled. Thank you.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Kazmarski.
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Ms. Davenero.
Yes.
And Dr. Worthy.
Yes. All right, public questions or comment. Public participation at board meetings is in accordance with bylaw 0167. At this time, members of the public may ask questions or make a comment on educational issues or school matters of community interest. It's a matter of fairness. You're asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you're here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. All right, motion to open to the public, Mr. Copeland, second by Mr. Gallo. Okay, we are officially open to the public. All right, seeing no one coming forward at this time, motion to close the meeting to the public, Mr. Copeland, and seconded by Mr. Hughes. All right, I don't think we require another executive session. We completed that in the beginning, so motion to adjourn. Mr. Denise, and second by Mr. Hughes. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Guys, just so you know, this,